we forget that like our teens are becoming adults and that our relationship with them, while you're still the mom and they're the kid, you're transitioning to like they're not a kid anymore and they're not a full-fledged adult that you're technically not responsible for, right? So
Sure.
you're in this middle, but you have to start developing those communication skills and that connection and that cadence that says, I am not only a safe person for you to be a jerk to because I still love you, but I also love you so much that I want to understand your perspective. Hi, I'm Jen.
Hey, I'm Suzanne.
Today we are talking about a friend of mine who thought her teen was just shutting her out. But in fact, he actually had a lot more going on. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit more about what that looks like. Because I think we've all, if you have a teen or a tween, I mean, it starts in the tweens. They do the whole like eye roll, shut you out, everything's fine. I just call it the teen shutout.
I like that
What
term.
would you call it?
I think that
What would
one
you
fits.
call it with your tween teens?
I'm not sure that's appropriate for this channel. We'll just go with teen shutout.
Okay, the teen shutout, the teen shut down. I don't know what you want to call it. Anywho, we were out to dinner and she, we were talking about our kids and this and that. And she started talking to me and she was like, I'm really concerned about my son. And I'm like, okay, like what's going on? And she's like, gosh, he's been so short with me. He's not really talking to me. Like, I just feel like there's been this like huge shift. And she really wanted to talk to him about his behavior. And I was like, well, like what else is going on? And she's like, well, no, I just want to talk to him about like he's being rude to me and he's being short with me. And she wanted to talk to me about that. And I was like, I know what you're going to say. But the first question I asked her was, are you asking me for my advice? Or are you just wanting to vent? Because like I'm here for it both. Like we're friends, right? Like what I do professionally doesn't need to come into, and it's kind of weird because of what I do professionally and we all have kids the same age. So I will say for my friends listening out there, I don't talk about anybody's story who confides in me unless you say it's okay to talk about on the show. And obviously we never use kids' names. So have you had that happen where like your friends asking you stuff personally, like for you, like I can't find the joy, I can't do this, and you're just sitting there like on your hands, like, are you asking me as a professional or are you asking me as your friend?
I think for sure. I mean, we do it sometimes, right? Like I have to take off my coach hat and be like, are you asking me as your sister or are we talking coaching here? Like, where are we? And I know our lines are more blurred than others. And so, yes. Or sometimes they're not. It's like you recognize the underlying issue and you want to talk to them about it. And then you just say like, that's not the hat that they're asking me for right now. So I think both of us have gotten better as coaches and as friends of saying to a friend, like, which version of you are you asking for? Like, what do you need
are we in a
me?
commiserating, like, like, are we just like, we just want to vent and like talk about how it just sucks? Cause I'm here for that too. Right.
Well, and I feel like it's also kind of like what we ask our husbands. Like sometimes I just want to vent. Yeah. Like, I don't want you to fix my problem. Right. So I feel like it's a very similar vibe.
It is. Wow, that is a really good perspective. I'm going to have to take that in. That one's good. So anywho, back to the story. So I finally said to her, I was like, well, are you wanting like my advice or are you just like venting? And she was like, no, I want your advice. Like, I need to know how to fix his attitude problem. And I was like, well, I want to actually start somewhere else. And she was like, what do you mean? And I said, well, like, what's been going on with him? And she's like, he's been being a jerk. And I'm like, no, but like, what's been going on with him? Like anything different, anything new? And she's like, why are you asking me this? And I said, just humor me. We're going to go down a path. Yeah, we're going to go down a path. And I've got a hunch. And she's like, okay, well, and so she's like, well, he's hurt. And I'm like, okay, so backstory is he plays soccer. He's very, very good. He's in high school. As we all know, high school season is starting. Everybody's trying out for the teams, right? Everybody wants to be varsity, right? We're talking competitive kids here. And I said, oh, okay, so can he try out? She's like, well, no. And I was like, okay. She's like, but he'll make the team because, you know, he was already on the team. And I was like, okay, but he wants to be on varsity. And she was like, well, yeah. And I said, okay, so is it fair to say that that's like really been messing with him? And she's like, well, yeah, I guess. And I said, and school just started. So I feel like that's always kind of a transition. Is it fair to say like just going back to school? And she's like, well, I mean, it's the same friends. He's already been there before, right? He's not a freshman anymore. And she's just, you know, saying just how I'm saying it. Like, well, I mean, no. And so I ask a few more questions and she's like, why are you asking me all these? And she's kind of getting annoyed with me. And I said, because this is a change in behavior and I want to know why he has a change in behavior. She's like, no, he's just being rude. And I was like,
yeah.
You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah. And I think at this point too, right? Like you're like, well, what's the symptom versus the root cause?
Yes, exactly. And so I said, hear me out. Do you feel like he can talk to you about all this stuff? And she's like, well, yeah, I'm his mom. We talk about it. And I said, okay, well, like, what have you guys talked about? And so she proceeds to say like, well, he's frustrated and he's worried about not being on varsity and, you know, school's fine and he always gets good grades. And she's very just like, if you can hear my thing, and I'm not saying it in an unkind way or a judgmental way, but she's very dismissive of everything's going on in his life.
Sure.
And I think that what I want to stop, and the reason I'm saying this is I think as moms, we get so hyper focused on like what we see and how we feel and like how we're reacting to like our kids shutting us out, shutting us down, being sassy, being a jerk, whatever, girl, boy, you know, they all do it. That we think it's about the thing, which is their attitude problem. But really it's about this, like, as you always say, the iceberg, right? It's like the thing underneath. And all you're seeing is like, and I remind people like, you're the safe space. Like you're the mom. They know they can be a jerk to you and you still love them. They know that they can walk the line and you still love them. Now, it doesn't mean you don't have boundaries. It doesn't mean you let them, you know, treat you like crap. Or I'm not saying any of that. But like, let's start with the good. He knows he can behave this way around you.
Well, and I think just from another mom perspective, right? Like I have a tween and a teen. And I've seen them both do this before. And we've actually talked about it when they've said to me, because I think there's the version of me before that I would have dismissed them because that made me uncomfortable. And I just wanted it to be better. Like, and kind of from that mom's perspective of you might be dismissive because you love them so much and you might take that on as the mom that you have done something wrong. You can't even get to listening to them. And to what is actually happening because you're so in your own feels about what they're saying and you're uncomfortable about what they're doing and saying. And so when you talk about that iceberg, I love that like imagery because it forces you to be like, hey, Suzanne, what are you focusing on right now? Like, this isn't about you. This is about them. And that's a hard shift to go to.
It is. It is. And I think that the other imagery I like to use is like zoom out, like what is going on in their life. And one of the things I do with all of my clients is I ask them to think about what they thought about when they were a teen. And a lot of us can't really remember, but everything was life and death when you're a teenager because your world is so small. And I think because we have all this experience and all this wisdom, right? Like that's one of the great things about being an adult, but you forget because in our mind, I said, do you feel like you're being a little dismissive of what a big deal this is to him? And she was kind of like, started to tear up and I'm going to tear up just thinking about her. And she was like, but he's going to be okay. And she's like, but yeah, because I'm just thinking like, this isn't this big of a deal. You're for sure going to make a team. It's just high school again. Like you've already been there. Like in her mind, she knows in the big world, this is no big deal and he's going to be fine. Of course he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. And I said, do you think he thinks he's going to be fine? And she was like, well, gosh, I never really thought about it. And then when like she started to have empathy about where he was at, regardless of if it makes sense to you as the mom, right? Like, you kind of know better and you have a more worldly view, like we just talked about. But like she all of a sudden was like, oh, I have so much empathy for him. And oh my gosh, I didn't really think about that. And that must be really hard. And it must be really scary, like to not know if he's going to make the team and what if he gets cut and what if this happens and what if that happens. And I was like, think of
Yeah.
all the what ifs that are going, and his friends are all going to practice and he's not going to practice.
And I think it could apply to so many things, right? Like they get worried they didn't get the grade, they didn't get into the class, they're not going to start, or they didn't get as much playing time as they wanted, or they don't make the team. Like all of those things. And like you said, like that's your world. Like that is all they have. And that is what they are judged at school. And that's how they're judged by their friends. And especially if they have friends like teammates or like in the same like clubs or, whatever that is. I think it's helpful to remind us. And I know you and I remind each other a lot to zoom out because, and I think that's such a great tool because it really like forces you to be like, it almost like physically. Yeah. And I think your lens changes. And when your lens changes, then you can have more empathy and you can say like, okay, dude, you didn't, you got an A- or you got a B-, like, okay, or you didn't get the start today. Like you got 9 million more games in front of you in your life, but they don't have that perspective.
They don't.
So,
no. And and perfect, because now I'm like, okay, so then we're moving on to the next thing. She's like, okay, well, like now what do I do? Because first I want to talk to him about his behavior. And now I realize and I'm like, listen, that's going to resolve itself. It's not like they have this long history of him being like this. Right. So that was another key to me. I was like, this doesn't sound like y'all's relationship, So then she's like, well,
you sound very Texas there. Y'all's. I'm still not used to my California sister busting out her Texas twang every once in a while. Sorry.
So anywho, bless your heart. We'll just keep going, all of the Texas stuff. She's like, so what do I do now? And I was like, well, I mean, for one, you got to acknowledge that you weren't thinking about that stuff, which is fine, just to yourself. But I said, now you need to open up the conversation with him. And it's not like you're going to be fine and everything's going to be fine. It's like, how would you open up that conversation with a friend? And I think that when we forget that like our teens are becoming adults and that our relationship with them, while you're still the mom and they're the kid, you're transitioning to like they're not a kid anymore and they're not a full-fledged adult that you're technically not responsible for, right? So you're in this middle, but you have to start developing those communication skills and that connection and that cadence that says, I am not only a safe person for you to be a jerk to, because I still love you, but I also love you so much that I want to understand your perspective.
Yeah. My kid's going to be gone in a few years. Like he's not gone. He's going to be out of the house. And like, I also need to teach him these skills and like the process. So not only do I need to like learn to connect with him and open these conversations. And by the way, set boundaries to be like, hey, you can't treat me like this. I understand you're upset, but like, that's not going to work for us moving forward. And maybe I didn't handle it well, or, taking your own accountability. But I also think giving them the skills and telling them that, like, I know I tell my kids, hey, you're going to be out of the house and these are life skills that you're going to need. I'm not always going to be right next to you available or for you to be the one that you take your stuff out on. Like that's not how life works. So let's work together and teach you how to do that as well. And I think that also is like, hey, you're a young adult.
Yeah.
Life's coming. You want me to treat you this way? Welcome.
Yeah. And exactly what you just said. It's you're opening up the conversation. When I say think of it as a friend, it's like you want to help your friend through something. You don't tell your friend what to do. I mean, if you do, you need to work on your friendship. That's a whole other episode. But you're literally like, hey, have you thought about this? And what about saying this, right? Like if you think about like your girl conversations, that's what you're doing. You're just like brainstorming together or this worked for me or that. And that's what you're essentially developing with your kid. But it's exactly what you said. You're teaching them how to process those feelings. You're teaching them how to speak about these feelings. Like all the stuff that was in the iceberg underneath the water, that's what you need to talk about your kids with. Once that's discussed, then you go back up to the top and you're like, and by the way, I will not be tolerating that behavior anymore. If you want to talk to me about the big stuff, I'm here, I'm safe, I'm open to it. But like, we can't hang out up in jerkland. Like it doesn't work for me. Right. Yeah. And so once we had that conversation, we got into more detail about how to do that. She was like, oh my gosh, this was so helpful. I can't believe you do this for a living. Like, because she was like, I never really understood what you did. And I was like, that's fair.
Yeah.
Like, I know what you do, but I didn't really truly. She's like, this has been like mind blowing for me. And I was like, yeah. She's like, you should create a course and I was like, yeah, I'm actually developing a library of like literally all of these types of things. Like your kid stressing about grades, your kid is being bullied. And it's all very teen related, right? Because every single thing is the iceberg underneath, and all you're experiencing is this, jerk at the top, whether, again, girl or boy. You're experiencing how they're coping with it. You're not experiencing what's actually going on. And developing yourself to be a safe place to process those feelings with them and to have those conversations and to be a place, because otherwise they're talking to their friends. You don't want them giving them advice. They're going on social media like, have you ever felt this way? This is what I do. Think of all the places they're getting all of this influence about what they should do if they feel this way, because they haven't told you what they feel, because they either have shame about it or don't know how to talk about it, or, there's a million reasons.
Yeah. And what I think I like about the teen talk tracks that you're building are, like, you and I get to chat, right? So we chat so regularly. I have my own version of your teen talk tracks. And I love that other moms will get that, because on a particular topic, like sometimes too, as a mom, you're just triggered by the behavior. And like, it's hard to zoom out, right? When they're being a little a-hole and you're just like, seriously right now. And you get stuck in on that because we're human beings, or you're not necessarily in your upstairs brain enough to like really think about like, how do I help him or her solve this problem, right? Like you're downstairs feeling all the things and basically ready to just chuck them out of the house and tell them go away, right?
Yeah.
And so what I love about
you're grounded.
Yeah, like you're just too emotional. You have no room to process. You've got brain fog, right? And so I think that having a place where you could go and listen to that and also help you focus. So not only are you getting good advice, but you're getting it on a particular topic that's affecting you right now. Because, right, our teens have so many different issues that come up. Like you said, a grade here, or I'm hurt on a sports team, or, someone was mean to me, or gossip. Like there's so many different topics out there. So I love the idea of just having something quick that I can go to, I can listen to. And this even applies when you're not available, because you're not available to me all the time, right? I have issues that come up. So now I'll be able to go to the teen talk track and be like, or just a repeat of something that happened that I need that advice on. So I can't wait till this library comes out. It's going to be awesome.
Yes. It's already out. It's just, I'm building it. So it's
yes, true.
Yeah. It is available, and it's actually for much reduced price because I'm building it from scratch. And so as you can imagine, there's going to be like 30 plus videos in there. And I keep saying 30 plus, but every time I tell someone about this, they're like, well, did you do this one? I'm like, nope, I didn't do that topic. Add another topic. So I don't even know what it's going to end up being, but I'm just going to keep recording them as they come to me. So if people have ideas, DM me. If I haven't already done it, I assure you I will add it, because I just think it's really quick. What's going on with the kid's brain, right? Like, what am I missing about their perspective and their world? It just helps you reacclimate to like their teen world. Yeah. And then helps you deal with your triggers and all the stuff that comes up for us, because a lot of times it's actually like, in this case, it was his behavior, but like sometimes they make like a really poor choice. Like it's one thing to be a jerk to you. It's another that like you find out they did, they cheated on a test, or like worse, right? And you're like, you just want to dive in on how the cheating on the test is the worst thing, and what were you thinking, and this and that, and you're embarrassed, you're horrified, they're better than that, and you're all focused on that, and not once did you ever ask the question of, why'd you cheat? What was going on?
And I think that that's also going to be another benefit to your teen talk tracks is it gives you a minute to step away, and you've already felt all the emotion, right? So if you find out they cheated on a test, I can imagine I could feel everything that you were saying. Like the shame spiral would begin. I have to get out of my own self.
Who else knows about this?
Right? All the judgment, the opinions, all the things. And so it would be nice to be able to go calm down, listen to that separately, and then reapproach the conversation or the communication when I was calmer and in the brain that could think as opposed to just feel.
Yes. And I would say the takeaways for this specific story with my friend was that she was so caught up in what she could see that she couldn't even see, like she couldn't zoom out, right? Like she was just so hyper fixated on how him treating her poorly was making her feel. And she really wanted to make that feeling go away. That was really what she was saying to me. It wasn't even to get him to stop doing it. She just wanted him to stop doing it because she didn't want to feel the way she was feeling, right? So it ended up, I think she was really shocked by the fact it really had a lot to do with her. And then just the other thing is that, like, to kind of piggyback on this, she was reacting to the behavior and not like the root cause.
Yeah.
And I think it's so easy for us as moms to do that because, like you talk about all the time with your stuff, moms are already so overwhelmed. We have so much stuff going on. It's like, oh my gosh, now you're acting a fool and I have to deal with this. Like, stop it. Right? Like, can you just be done with that? Like, I need to move on from this. This isn't working with my schedule. Right? So it's no shame or shade, or as the kids would say, to the mom. It's just like, this is going to take a little more work than I realized. Right? But isn't that what parenting is, and showing up as a good mom and all those things is? Just takes more time.
Yeah. And that's why we're here for you guys. And so our question to our listener today is there a situation with your teen or tween where maybe you could zoom out and get some more clarity about what's actually going on in their life, that maybe it's the behavior's not quite the problem, that there's something underneath that iceberg? Well, that's it for today.
We hope you discovered something in my friend's story.
See you next time. Same place, same sisterhood. Bye.
Bye.